Oh, the feels to this game! Hello and welcome back to Pixel Play. It has been a while. I think I've grown a third toe through the months I've been gone, but you know what else I've grown? A soft spot for this ethereal piece of a game that we'll be discussing today, Rakuen. To start off, Rakuen is a relatively casual RPG game created by singer-songwriter Laura Shigihara. But in my own perspective, there is more to Rakuen than meets the eye. Underneath the surface layer of simplistic gameplay mechanism, Rakuen holds a deep and complex reflection of how one experiences life and death. Before we get into such depth, let me give you my own synopsis of this game. Rakuen centers on a youthful little boy who it would seem has been hospitalized for quite a while now. He gets frequent visits from his mom where she would keep him company with different activities, one of which is storytelling. It is through Mom's story that we are introduced to a tale of a young man's journey to be reunited with his friends and companions to a mythical world named Rakuen. The young man then asks for this wish-granting deity, Morizora, to fulfill his wish of taking him to Rakuen on a boat. Listening to this story, the hospitalized boy decides to look for Morizora so that he too can have his wish granted. Alas, in their journey of passing through the enchanting land of the Morizora forest, it was revealed that Morizora had fallen asleep. The boy and his mom must then find the pieces of music that would awaken Morizora from his deep slumber. These musical pieces just so happens to be held by some of the creatures dwelling in the Morizora forest. It would seem that unexplainably, these creatures in the forest took the characters of the patients back at the hospital, who each have their own stories to tell, with problems that the boy and his mom must help to solve, ranging from a lost ring to a lost friend. Now, traversing between the Morizora forest and the hospital, we see the slight parallel between the two worlds. While the forest is full of life and wonderment, the hospital comes off a little bit sad and hella scary. At one point, I had begun to wonder whether this was really not a horror game. Oh, be still, my weak heart. One thing stayed constant though. My crookedness persisted. What a crook. Get it? What a crook? Ha! Mom would be so proud. Yeah, I've been meaning to do that for a while. Finally getting it out of my system. Putting my non-relatable personal enjoyment aside, making our way to and fro between the forest and the hospital through the eyes of the boy and his adventure with Mom in helping the dwellers of the Morizora forest, and in extension the fellow patients at the hospital, we see a glimpse of each patient's own life journey, up until the point where they are now. The memories, the regrets, the joy, and the sadness. While their physical well-being, namely their sickness and illnesses, cannot be fixed by the boy and his mom, their attempts of bringing the magic of the Morizora forest and resolving their fixable issues and counterpart do lift up their spirits. Except for the peanut snack-loving nurse who seems to never just have a good day. I feel you, babe. Meanwhile, we also see this glimpse of masked uneasiness through the boy's eyes with how he's coping with his own situation, much like the other patients. Now lies the depth of this game. Concept-wise, Rakuen, I dare say, is one epitome of the word befuddlement. Why, you ask? This is because, in my opinion, Rakuen has managed to put abstracts and clarity all together. I say this because it was such an ethereal experience playing it. Even reminiscing it right now, I still feel the uneasiness of Rakuen's abstract concept. Playing the game, I don't know how the fantasy of the world of the forest and the reality of the hospital fit. Like, how are the plants connected to each other? With how the fantasy of the forest mashed with the reality of the hospital, I get so confused, and it bothers me. And yet, by the end of the gameplay, with no answers whatsoever, I rested my soul in just being content with how the boy and his mom were. And perhaps that is how life rolls, through the interlocking meshes of our reality and our dreams that get so close when we are about to experience eternal sleep, our deaths. Additionally, the fact that I discovered Laura's musical talent through her soundtrack from another Pixel Jam, To the Moon by Kan Gao, one of my favorites, made me prouder of how Laura has come this far, of being able to create a game that although may have a similar vibe to the Moon, she has amazingly and successfully put her own twist and personality into Rakuen. I see what you did there, girl! Rakuen's gameplay is very much cameoed with Japanese culture and heritage, from the names of the character to the Japanese-inspired mythical stories, as well as the realities of Japanese history, particularly on the nuclear plant explosion from a few years back and the tension and compromise of Japan's and Korea's relationship. This underlying Japanese influence theme is really well put together considering that creator Laura Shigihara is an American-born Japanese. Not only has Laura and her team creatively and cleverly intertwined the rich history of Japanese culture to Rakuen, but they have also created a musical masterpiece of melodies and harmonies that tugs at the heartstrings. Seriously, the soundtrack sends you to places, man. I think personally for me, as I reflect upon Rakuen, I perceive Boy's wish of going to Rakuen to manifest a dimension of humans' abstract of the afterlife and how some of us perceive and deal with death, especially when it's waiting for us at our door. For a boy with a childhood where he is mostly confined within the white, sanitized walls of the hospital, his adventures with his mom and the memories with the hospital patients let him experience life through the stories they tell and the human condition of sympathy and strength. Each patient's stories are amazing capsules of one's complex life with their most memorable moments of joy and pain, both physical and metaphysical. In this, I find that while we humans come from all walks of life with different hurdles and different stories to tell, at the end of the day, these stories will come to an end. And while they may not be publicly shared to others like how Rakuen managed to do so, there will always be a sliver of our remains in this world, whether it's through our work, our family tree, or our own little creation that we may have shared with others. Additionally, Rakuen portrays this human fear and sorrow of death, and on the other hand, the fear and sorrow of losing loved ones to death, while there is also sweetness to it. This is something we will all get to feel at least once in our lifetime. And so, Rakuen shows this through different perspectives and different circumstances that life has to offer to each and every one of us. One thing's for sure, while parting is such sorrow, there will always be a better tomorrow. Well, I'm going off tangent here, and I really can't say much anymore without spoiling or perhaps further spoiling the game for you. As much as I'd love to discuss more on the deep lore of Rakuen, I don't think I can comprehensively explain how Rakuen really feels like, and I think you really need to experience it for yourself, and hopefully you may understand what I mean. But yeah, Rakuen was one hell of a ride. I had nearly choked on trying to hold back my tears when I played it. All in all though, if you're looking for a gameplay that is casual but explores the depths of both brightness and darkness of a person's livelihood and deathbed experience, then Rakuen might be a good try for you. It's pretty ethereal, but I guess that is what paradise is. Rakuen. So before this video ends, I would like to thank you so much for watching. Let me know how the Rakuen experience was for you. Did your heart go through a roller coaster of emotions like mine did? Because mine definitely did. Don't forget to give us a huge thumbs up, and I'll see you guys again soon on the next video.